Today's math lesson is on reflections, and it covers pages 157 to 158. In younger years, you might have heard to this translation as a transformation as a flip, but we will call it a reflection now. When a point is reflected in a mirror line, the point and the image of the point are the same distance from the mirror. So if we were to look at this image here, the dotted line is what they're referring to as the mirror. So we can see that C is this far away, and the image of C is the same distance away, right? A is closer, so A image is closer. B is the farthest, so B image is the farthest away. The other thing that you'll notice is that the line between the point and the image is perpendicular to the mirror. So if this is the mirror and this is the point, it makes a 90-degree angle where it meets. So for question number 1, they ask you to reflect point P using the x-axis as the mirror and to label the image point P image and write the coordinates. So your first step, they'll have given you P, is to draw the image of P across the x-axis. So our mirror is going to be the x-axis, and if it is 2 lines away here, then it's going to be another 2 lines away there. And notice that they both make 90-degree angles with the x-axis. So you've located P image and you've labeled it with the apostrophe. That's what the image part comes, is the apostrophe. And the x value is 2 and the y value is -2. So you put those coordinates in. So for the next one, here's P. So what's the coordinates x and y? And then it's always crossing the x-axis for this question. So if it goes up to the x-axis, then it needs to go the same distance up, label it, and write the coordinates. For question number 2, we're going to be reflecting multiple points in each graph, so P, Q, and R, through the x-axis. So my mirror line is going to be the x-axis, and we're labeling P image, Q image, and R image and writing the coordinates. So I'll do the first one kind of with you. If we have P, so you will need to write the coordinates for P. Here's x, here's y. Write them in, and then we need to find the image of it. So if I have P, I need to make a perpendicular line to the x-axis because that's my mirror, right? So it's going straight up. Now it's going up one place, so I need to go the same distance on the other side. So here is my image of P, and then I'm going to write the coordinates. Here's the x, here's the y, and you'll write them there. Then you have Q. So we need to travel in a straight line up to the x-axis. We go 1, 2, 3 places. So then we go 1, 2, 3 places. So this would be where you would mark it, label it as Q apostrophe or Q image, and then what's your x value, what's your y value. And you'll do the same thing for R. It's 2 away, so it goes 2 away, label it, and mark it. Okay? Now the difference with question 3 is that the 3 points are connected to make a triangle. So you can make each of the points reflected one at a time, and then you'll just draw the lines to connect them into a triangle. So it's through the x-axis, so we're crossing that same axis. So if it's 1 up, go 1 up. 1 up, 1 up, 3 up, 3 up, label them, draw them, connect the dots, write in all of your coordinates. Now, if we go over here, right, it's still going to be coming down, right? So however far away it is, so it will look like a reverse image. If we have points that are on the axis itself, they don't move. You move 0 places, so then you move 0 places. They're going to stay there. The only point that will move is D, and so that will come here. Question 4 is going to be quite similar to our previous questions, but now instead of using the x-axis as the mirror, we're going to be using the y-axis. So the line that we're crossing is actually here. So we'll notice we've got P, we've moved 2 places, so we go 2 more places, and that's where we get P image, and you write in the coordinates for each of them. So wherever your point is, we're now crossing this axis and making a perpendicular line instead of going up and down. So we'll be going left to right or right to left. And remember, if it's on the axis, it's still going to travel in that same direction. For question number 5, we're following that same progression that we did with the x-axis. So now we're using the y-axis. We're crossing here and making perpendicular lines, and you have 3 points. So we have P, it makes a perpendicular line with the y-axis. Travel the same distance to get your P image and write in your coordinates. Then we'll go to X, how many spaces, plot your point R, how many spaces, plot your point, and make sure you're writing all your coordinates in. So for each of these, that's what you're doing. You're just switching it, mirroring it across that y-axis. And remember, if it's on the axis already, then it doesn't, like, you don't have to go anywhere to cross the axis, right? But this one would need to go across. Question 6 will ask you to look at question 5 and compare the coordinates to the points and the image. Which coordinate changes when a point is reflected through the y-axis? So if we look here, here's our point and here's the image. The 3 is the same, but the x value 2 became -2. So you can see whether the x value is always the one that changes when you write in the rest of your coordinates. The final question asks you to reflect the figure or the shape through the y-axis by first reflecting the vertices. So sometimes I draw a line to remind myself, here's my mirror line, it's going to be the y-axis. And then I just reflect each point. So here's A, has to pass through and go the same distance. Here's B, pass through and go the same distance. C, pass through. D, pass through. And just make sure that you're labeling all of them and connecting them. Now it does get trickier when your mirror line is in the middle of the shape. So this point here will have to cross that direction, but B is going to actually cross the opposite direction, and then C will go to the right. So both points have to be mirrored. Okay, so that should help you see which direction it is. And for C, A and C are already reflected, right? So it's just B that's going to be crossing and moving over. When you're finished, there'll be some questions on a Google form. I won't get you to draw anything, but I'll ask you to maybe write the coordinates of what it is once it has been reflected. If you need any help, please do not hesitate to reach out and ask me for a Zoom meeting.